Remember in those first videos doing this kind of business? Okay guys, so I want to say I am back from my vacation. I just did my first video about how to travel when you're trying to remain strict keto. Because I was gone in Asia for nearly a month and I was strict keto. I was a part of the world where they put sugar on everything and I did not taste a drop. But yet and still, I did lose a couple of lbs, but I still got the business. Yeah, I still got the business at the age of 47 and counting. I had energy the whole trip. Yeah! Unfortunately, I had too many lean meats and I was not able to dump as much fat on everything as I needed to because I was like, ooh, one bottle of it's so funny in Asia, like one bottle of friggin' olive oil will be left on the shelf, or like one bottle of coconut oil, and you'll buy the last one, or it'll just be gone, and you're just struggling to stay away from the soybean oil. So it's very interesting to have people like, what's wrong with soybean oil? They didn't understand how toxic it is, and the pesticides, and a bunch of stuff, phytic acid. Anyway, here we go. So today, I'm going to kind of reach in deep, right, to some of the concepts that I discussed on the trip, which was not just about how to travel on keto and all that kind of stuff, but it was about why your glucose numbers remain high. I want to explain to you guys very clear what happens in your body when you are glucose dependent. Okay, so here we go. I'm so happy to be back, guys. I'm so happy and I'm super pumped. And I've got energy from ketones, no coffee. And contrary to what some people out there in the blogosphere biatch about, no, I haven't always been this way. No, the older I get, the more energy I am able to create via ketones. And somebody's like, oh my God, you're these like trolleys, like they watch the videos. I don't get it. Y'all watch the videos and then you bitch. Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling, because there are people that actually want to learn about how to beat autoimmune disorders, behavioral disorders, depression, cancer, and all that stuff. If that's not you, move on. Okay. You have insulin, which I've mentioned before, it makes things grow. Simple concept, right? But it also helps to get the glucose out of the blood. As a hunter-gatherer society, we did not eat a lot of carbohydrates. I've mentioned it a million times. So because of that, our digestive systems did not evolve to handle all the glucose that we eat today. It is a toxin. This is the reason why diabetics have a disease of high blood glucose, because they can't clear it out. They don't even either produce insulin, type 1, or their insulin is not working, type 2. Problem is, a lot of you guys are becoming insulin resistant and have no idea. You could be young, you could be fit, and you could be a male, have muscles, and start to develop insulin resistance, or sort of a pre-insulin resistance. Well, what does that mean? Right? So we need insulin. Insulin is going to deliver the glucose into the cell to keep you alive. Perhaps your body might go into gluconeogenesis as a survival reaction, or if you're a carb burner, it's going to get the glucose out of the blood and into the muscle as glycogen, or into the Krebs cycle to give you what? Energy, 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 energy. But that type of fuel as a carb burner, it only lasts 2 to 3 hours because you deplete your glycogen storage is quite easy and quite quickly. So as a hunter-gatherer society, we didn't have rice and quinoa and beans and white potato and starchy corn and sweet fruits. These things have been genetically modified. You know, if the planet just... You ever go to a forest and see a bunch of sweet fruit? Well, sweet fruits have been modified, so they're more palatable. Problem is, sweet fruits attract what? Insects. So they don't really survive very well. Bitter plants are going to survive more because they're less sweet. But I digress. People have this kind of thought, we're hunter-gatherer society in East Africa and there's like fruit trees everywhere to eat from. And no, plants are poisonous. You can't just go grab something and stick it in your mouth. So you didn't have this huge variety of plant source foods during a year's time. So things grew seasonally. Edible things are seasonal. Not enough to remain a vegetarian or vegan the entire year. Not in East Africa. So anyway, when we started to develop farming and agriculture 10,000 years ago, we were able to eat a lot more starches and just carbohydrates from plant source foods. Problem is, we don't have a lot of storage space capacity for it, and once we spill over, our body's like, get it out of the blood, get it out of the blood. Hence the fat cells, because you cannot poop or pee it out that fast. The problem is, we can only handle what? A teaspoon of carb every 2 to 3 hours. When you go over that, the body has to match glucose to insulin. The problem is that button, that insulin button, is just like permanently like bleh. It just vomits out this like bolus amounts of insulin, which you might be able to clear out, some of you, the glucose, but you cannot clear out the insulin. And it is caustic and it damages cells, both. So when you're talking about your high triglycerides, your small particle LDLs, this is coming from too much glucose and not an egg yolk. But that's a whole nother story. I want to talk about why people get fat, because that's what you guys want to talk about. Why you get fat and how to not get fat. So I kind of mentioned this very quickly in videos because I'm walking around with cameras and it's just like, ah! So now I'm back home in my place, and I think I'm going to get rid of those floodlights because I don't really use them. I was going to use them at night, and there's just this ugly orange thing just in the background. But I digress. So with that said, you eat carbs, and you now are secreting too much insulin, which drops your blood glucose too low, which makes you shaky and cranky and hungry, and then you get that signal to eat again. And then you eat again, and then you overshoot your insulin, and the same problem happens. You start to develop things like hypoglycemia. Google it, because a lot of you have it. But overshooting your insulin can create a thing called insulin resistance, because we weren't designed, you guys, to eat these processed foods at all. Your body can't regulate it. Over time, your machine wears down. You don't have the business. And you start to develop this role. And you start to develop hips, and women become estrogen dominant. And men get really flat in their muscles as they age. They just can't get rid of like pec fat. Dudes develop pec fat. Forget women in their boob fat. Men develop, or well, the women don't like the fat here, but I digress. So the whole thing is, you start to develop this kind of pre-diabetic insulin resistance. You can't manage your blood glucose. You either have too much glucose in the system or it tanks, but it's not getting into the cells to be used. Where are we? Okay, good. I gotta remember the time now. If it's not getting into the cells to be used, it's gonna be stored as fat. You can't have all that glucose circulating in the blood, you're gonna get sick. That's what diabetics do. They start to have kidney and liver failure, circulation problems, the gamut of cells dying. But even though you don't have diabetes and you start to develop this insulin resistance where the insulin doesn't work very well and it overshoots, you still start to develop some of the issues from having too high glucose. I'm not smiling about it, but the information is really fascinating, because once you learn this stuff, you can fix the body. So I have a lot of people say like, well, my mom has thyroid condition and she's got other disorders, so she's type 2 diabetes. She's worried about her weight. And I'm like, keto's perfect. But then she's like, she's afraid to eat fat. Well, if you don't eat fat, you're not going to keto adapt. Which kind of reminds me when people are bitching about, oh, keto's a cult. No, it's not, you dermercious. It's not a cult, yo. It's just, if you want to do it, if you want to watch the videos to do it, I'm just giving you the information. What you do on your own is yourself. That's it. That's it. You know what I'm saying? My mom had a glioblastoma in her head. Most aggressive brain cancer. And I've been nagging, and my mom to keep her fats high and her carbs low. She's still alive 7 years later. So if I'm the cult freaking weirdo, keto, I'm a keto to the rest of time. To the end of time. So you don't like it, move on. Hi guys. So, here we go. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Okay. So just wanted to give you that lesson. Why is your glucose spiking? Because you're stressed. Gluconeogenesis. Why is your glucose high? Because you have pre-insulin resistance. Or you have insulin resistance. Well, how did you develop that? Carbs that your body can't regulate. Your body's like overworked, it's freaking exhausted. Please stop eating so many chips and soda and juice and chocolate and hard candies and cereal. Cereal? Milk. And that is the reason why your body can't match the amount of insulin to the glucose, because it's too much glucose. And it does this thing called advanced glycation end product, damaging of your DNA. So in one lifetime, your genetics start to take a dump. And you can't manage things. And what you could manage when you were younger, you can't manage anymore. So you know why I look like this? You know how easy it was for me to get ripped in a matter of, probably took about 10 days before this started happening? It was because I'm so highly keto adapted that my body went into, it's a survival mode and started just gobbling up fat. I'm like, this is too lean for me. I need a little bit of thickness going on. This is too lean. I don't want to walk around like this friggin' diced. It's not necessary. Okay, guys. People are like, oh, that's a good problem to have. I'm like, it doesn't matter. I just want to be healthy. So it's not about just weight loss. It's about regulating that blood sugar. Because if you don't regulate your blood sugar, your body's being ripped apart daily. On the daily. So, yeah, I gotta wrap this up soon. When I say metabolically deranged, my friend kept saying, I'm deranged! And as many times as she said it, I don't think she really understood what derangement meant. It just means that the things that regulate your body's systems are not in that homeostatic level anymore. They're like, there is damage as you get older. Things aren't going to function as when you were younger. But you can heal a lot. Your gut, your leaky gut, your thyroid, your adrenal glands. But you know what really suffers? Your freaking adrenal gland, your reproductive system. When your adrenal glands start to get sluggish and tired, everything else gets jacked up. So if I've got to say it in every video to the end of time, I will, because a lot of you email me every day. So the videos are designed around the questions. So if people keep asking, that means they're still not getting it. A lot of you guys already get it, but a lot of you guys don't. And the insulin and glucagon subject is very interesting because they work in opposition. So if your glucagon is not opposing the insulin, you're metabolically damaged. Because one brings you down and one brings you back up, and you don't feel like death and tired, and you don't age as fast. But you wear those lovely systems out by overeating processed foods. Stop being afraid of fat. There's no darn limit. You're so consumed about weight gain that you're not thinking about your metabolic derangement. How do you fix it? Because I got like a minute left. I got to become a YouTube partner soon. But I hate advertising on videos. And I'm not that money driven, contrary to what people think. Whatevers. The point is that you've got to get to sleep. It doesn't matter who I talk to. Like, oh my God, my macros are perfect and I'm almost close and I'm creating ketones, but my glucose is too high. And I'm like, yes, your glucose is too high because you're still not going to bed early enough and you're not unplugging from the matrix early enough, way before you go to bed. And that last meal, you need to crank up the fat. Crank it up. Crank it up. That's how you create ketones. And for all you other mother suckers don't believe in it, keep on rolling, because the ones who get it understand the whole deal, right? The whole deal is anti-aging. The whole deal is like, okay, I don't have to friggin' turn into an old lady yet and go out to pasture. I'm almost 50, guys! And I'm at the gym to the young guys. Come on, guys, let's go! Okay, guys, that's it. Glucagon and your insulin must work in opposition. You must get to bed early. You must. 10 and 12, that's